To Lynn, VK3LV in the group, VK38.
VK3RV on frequency.
Who was the breaker?
VK3 Radio Victor.
Oh yes, okay, Max. Have a say and then pass it on to Lynn.
Yeah, VK3HZ and VK3EN, the two stations I've heard there. VK3RV. Yes, good morning everybody there, and nice to say hello to you there. Haven't been listening for very long. I've been outside patching up a bit of paintwork around the place, and it's starting to get a bit hot in the sun. So that's the deal here. I've been pretty busy the last few days, been out a few days and not around the place here.
12 volts, I hope. Anyway, I think that's the standard nowadays, isn't it? Len, okay, back to the book there you've got, yes. Oh, well, they're quite good now. I'm beginning to like them because there's a lot of information you never get anywhere else. And I've been through mine, and it's interesting reading. And would you believe it, I get CB too. And you'd be surprised what's in that. It's, a resume of what is actually going on in and around that area, and the equipment that's tested. And it's very interesting, the tests they put over them and the results that are given. But anyway, you've got to get something to read from time to time. Okay, then it's about Marty Murray here, so we're all hoping, because it's a trying time, we all know that. IBC, well, I haven't complained in the past, but I've got it now. Yesterday, mainly the heterodyne whistle, not the voices and things. No, I'm not getting that. If I turn the volume right up, I can hear it faintly, but I am getting the heterodyne whistle. So I never got that in the early stages, but it's growing. So the hot weather must have something to do with it. And what else? Oh, I got a message from Les that they're getting on to the 432 this week. So with any sort of luck, if they find the fault, well then I might have it back before the weekend. I'm hoping, because I don't use it very often. But when a piece of equipment is away, then you find you want it, don't you? Now anyhow, I'll be patient. All the power supplies are going all right. There's no further bother. But that was a very strange one, that the bridge going up. Well, two bridges going up in the primary. I can't understand that. If it had been the output end, well then there'd be something in it. But why what have I got? About 20 volts going in, I think. And it just went through it like nobody's business, two of them. And I did blame the voltage regulator, but that was all right. The 3055, that finally went open. But I don't think that would be the cause actually of the AC side shorting. Anyway, you've got to look for all these things. Right, Murray, well then, what have we got? We're short of material today, aren't we? VK3HZ, VK3EN.
VK3IML, Henry.
Who's that?
Oh, it's Tony, 3IML, Henry. I've got something of interest for you, and also probably for Mac 3 RV. Anyway, keep it going round.
Picked up the wrong microphone. VK3 AML, VK3HZ. Listen, Tony, you have a say now and then pass it on to me, VK3HZ.
Yeah, right. I just walked into the shack. Not quite sure what's going on. I think Murray's there and Henry, and I'm pretty sure I heard Mac a few minutes ago. But I had to dash out and give the modulator a belt because the 811As seem to have an intermittent filament connection or something. Henry, one question for you. Did you ever hear the that record of Ivor 3DH's of you back in 1938? Because if you didn't, I'll play it to you. And a question for Mac, 3RV. Was your call sign the same in 1938, 1939? Was your call sign still 3RV? Because if it is, I think we've got a recording of you too from the same period of time, but I can't find that one at the moment. It's somewhere on one of Chris's tapes. But anyway, Henry, I wonder if you heard that recording of your crossband back from 1939. I wonder if Chris, if I did play it to you, VK3EN, just for a break, VK3AML on the group?
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3EN. I believe I did, Tony. You remember when Chris came out and played that tape? And I think it was on that. But if it wasn't, well, then we're pleased to hear it. And Ivor, well, I can't remember back, Tony, so a little bit of revising wouldn't do any harm. It'll bring us up to date on the past. I haven't heard anything of Chris for a long, long time, just that what happened to him. But we used to hear his name mentioned quite a lot from time to time, but he disappeared. Mac, well, you'll be interested if you haven't heard that, but I think I have, Tony, but let her go anyway. You know, we'll see what Mac says anyway. Righto then, Murray, will you go and then give Tony time to prepare. VK3HZ, VK3EN.
Did the same thing again. Too many microphones. Oh, blimey. That's interesting. I just noticed when I talked the meter moves on my on my rotator controller. Good heavens. Must have a bit of rectified stuff there. Can use it as a field strength meter. It should be sitting right on the left-hand stop, and it's sitting up with the carrier, and it's following the modulation. Only a very small amount, but still it's doing it. Okay. Here's Mac there. Very good morning to you, and nice to have you with us again. Thanks for the good wishes all around. Yes, we've all got our fingers and our toes and everything else crossed. But there's no doubt about the people in the medical field. They work hard on these things. I'm beginning to find out that some of them charge hard too, but however, it's all covered, so that's fair enough. Yes, well, nothing in particular to you, Mac, or to you, Len. I should have passed it on to Len anyhow. No, on to where were we? Oh, Henry passed it to me. Yes, I passed it to Mac. Yeah, well, I'll make this a short one anyhow. We'll give a break to see if Tony's found that, Mac. VK3RV in the group with a slight pause. VK3HZ bye.
Yeah, just pass it round to Mac there, Murray, and we'll just check out whether his call sign was the same in 1938. I'm just curious on that one.
3AML and the group, VK3RV. Yes, I'll just give an affirmative on that, and you can go ahead there, Tony. That's quite right. I've had the same call sign ever since 1936, so you go ahead there. VK3AML in the group, VK3RV.
Yeah, right, Mac. Yeah, well, I haven't. just at the moment, yours is the little bit that I haven't found, but there is some of you on there somewhere. But I'll give you a quick listen just for interest's sake. It's quite interesting that Ivor did record these things. And there's also a bit of Dick 3RZ on there as well from the same period of time. Just stand by, I'll just play this bit of Henry. If we can get it.
VK3EN in 1939.
Just a sec, Hen. I'll get back onto your frequency now. Just a moment.
Yes?
Did you hear that bird talking about the 807?
I heard it all, yes.
That's relaying 20 to you, Hen.
Ah, yes, quadrupling the 807. Yes, they'll do it too. They're just the tubes that will.
Well, on 20 metres using my 6L6G as a quadrupler, I can get, nearly as much grid current in the 809 as I can using them as a doubler.
Oh, that's pretty good, but I've never been able to get quite as much, although I've got pretty fair results.
Well, I can't get quite as much, but boy, oh boy, the 6L6 gets a really lot.
Oh, yes, I suppose the plate dissipation is pretty high there.
Yeah.
Surprising how much you have got to lose in that method, doubling and quadrupling.
Right, you're right.
VK3 Echo Hotel, just after Christmas in 1938.
VK3H returning. OK Ivor and also OK Bert, good morning to you. And thank you very much indeed for the good wishes. And I certainly reciprocate those wishes and certainly hope that the Christmas pudding didn't interfere with the digestion and whatnot. And if you're not coming back again, Bert, and I don't see you before the new year, I wish you the compliments of the season and every success in 1939. And it's bad luck about you two boys not contacting, but the only reason I can see is what Ivor suggested. And that is, Bert, that you never had your receiver tuned on Ivor's frequency. It's the only conclusion I can come to it. Okay, Bert, and certainly pleased to say hello to you again. And, of course, this monitor that I got here is by no means efficient.
I play a bit of that. I just suddenly thought you'd probably remember, just check the audio here, you'd probably remember 3EH too. I think I've got a feeling 3EH just used to live around the corner from here, over the other side of Glenire Road. Anyway, I wonder if that brought back memories. I'll stick it back to you then, Henry, and I'll get in touch with Chris and get the other tape back off him and dig out that bit. I'm pretty sure it was you, Mac. I'm very, very close to certain that it was 3RV. Although I'm not sure. I don't think you're on narrowband FM as you quite often used to be. I think you were just on AM. But back to you anyway, Henry. I'll just make a couple of quick comments to Murray before I put it back. You're all putting in good signals here, by the way. It's nice to sort of catch up with you all again after all this time. I don't sort of very often get on the coffee break session. But yeah, Murray, Dan 3UI, who's a very good friend of mine. In fact, he's a couple of years younger than I am. He had some rather unpleasant experiences in at the Peter MacCallum Clinic. He managed to develop himself at one stage a brain tumour, which didn't look very good for quite a while, but he's still hanging on okay and seems to be sort of coping with it. But oh dear, that sort of thing is sort of about the worst sort of thing that can happen, I think, in many respects. Anyway, just back to you, Henry. I wonder which particular rig you're using at the moment, Henry. It doesn't sound like your normal rig. Are you using one of the smaller rigs or what? It just doesn't sound like your big rig. It's very strong here, but the audio doesn't sound quite the same as it used to about 12 months ago. So I wonder if you're using a new rig, or you've brought in a new rig during the last 18 months there, Henry. I I hope I'm not sort of putting it out of order. VK3 in the group, 3AML.
Righto, Tony, VK3AM, Mel in the group, VK3EN. No, well, the fact is we're both getting older, both the rig and myself, and there may be some changes in that way, but otherwise everything is the same here as far as this is concerned. Now, I don't think I've heard that one before at playing now, about the other one, if I could try and bring my memory back, was for somebody else. I think I was speaking to somebody else, but anyway, it's good to hear your own voice back again, isn't it, now and again? And then you can find all the faults with it. Now, when you mentioned 3EH, well, I used that call sign many years ago, and 3EJ. They were two of the call signs allocated to the job, and well, it was my privilege to use them both on tests and things. 3EJ was the portable, and 3EH was the headquarters, and then we changed them. We changed them to VKD, and then Darwin wanted that, and we had another change to VKN8 and VK3N9. Then they were ruled out, and I don't think the call's mentioned at all over the year now. Now we're on UHF. They've forgotten they ever did have a call, and they're not so hot either. Believe me, there's some problems existing with it still. Right, well, thanks for playing it back, Turning, anyway. And we haven't heard much of you in the past 12 months, that's for certain. And okay, about CUI, well, that's something which we can't foresee, I suppose, and when it strikes you, well, then it's really serious. Now, Mac, I think I'll pass it back to you again, don't you? You take over now. VK3RV, VK3EM.
Yeah, VK3LV in the group. Your next there, Len, VK3RV. Well, that was an interesting few moments there, and thank you very, very much, Tony, for your trouble there in playing that back. It really brings back memories. And Henry, you don't sound very much different, I don't reckon. It's the same Henry that I always remembered. I know when we used to work on 2 metres there, on a 2 metre net of an evening at 7 o'clock in the evening, back in the 1940s, with Cole Gibson and a few others there, Charlie Whitelaw and Jim Keane, I think, was on it too. We used to work on 2 metres there. It was the same Henry as we always knew before the war, and you haven't changed much since then, so you're doing all right, boy. The voice is still there, and we still recognise it. It's quite remarkable, isn't it? And okay, on 3EH, well, VK3EH, I used to know round about it was round about wartime or just after, and his name was Ernie Foote. I don't know if any of you knew Ernie, but he held that call sign, I'm pretty sure of that. And I don't know whether he still holds it, and I haven't heard Ernie on for many, many years. Okay, on the Peter McCallum, yes, it's I'm afraid it's a very necessary place, that, and increasingly they're doing some pretty marvellous things there. We've had a couple of neighbours here who have developed troubles around that type of thing, and it's quite incredible the marvellous things that they have done there. So we can take our hats off to them, and also take heart of what's been going on too. It seems that they're slowly improving the methods of treatment, and as the years go on. It's only a matter of time probably before it'll be probably a 95% job, a cure. But I was listening to a thing the other night from the ABC by Professor Nossel, and my goodness, that guy is interesting. He gave a talk on immunology, and it really makes you take your hat off to these people who dedicate their lives to research and into these things. He was talking about smallpox eradication from the whole world, and there's virtually no smallpox left in the world now, and since it is a disease which only uses the human body as a host, doesn't use any other animal or anything like that, if you can eradicate it from every human body in the world, well then that's finished. It can't raise its ugly head again. And he was talking about the types of diseases that of course they're working on to try and eradicate them. I think there's another one too. It's a tropical disease that they're trying to do the same thing too. Okay, on your remarks there, Len, about the air conditioning noise. Well, if that's a mechanical noise and it's annoying people, it's an offence, and something can be done about that these days. And okay, on the JAs on 15, yes, well, of course, you can work them one after the other, and you don't get much of a contact with them generally. It's very hard to make them talk for long. It's just a hit-run type of thing, and please QSL, and that's it. And of course 10 metre DX, I think you'll find that 10 metres is going to improve during the equinoctial period. I think it'll really open up this time, and there'll be some wonderful openings to Europe in the evenings, as well as the usual daytime openings to the States in March and April. Well, that's enough from me for the moment, so you take it, Len, and VK3LV and the group.
And then pass it on to Henry. We're delighted to hear what he's got to say about himself. Okay, Tony, there. That was most interesting. I'd heard some of Ivor's old stuff. As a matter of fact, I used to do quite a lot of work with Ivor in 1935-36, but it was mostly done on the old 5 metre band, and I doubt if he would have been able to do much recording of the sort of signals we used to have on that. But he and I used to exchange very, very good signals because we weren't very far away. I lived over in Bundoora Road, near Bamborough Road, about due west of where I live here now, and Ivor, of course, was over in East Brighton somewhere, and it was quite an easy sort of a pass on the 5 metres, but very, very interesting, Tony, and it makes you realise, what a marvellous job Ivor used to do with that old disc cutting show of his. When you had occasion to deal with some of the pre-war commercially cut acetates, some of those are pretty, well, the only word to describe it would be lousy. Very, very good, and thanks for playing it, Tony. Your signal's beautiful here, of course, very, very strong and beautiful quality. I don't know whether you've ever heard me on this particular rig. This is a junk box special. Some of my old AM gear rebuilt up just into an 1825 crystal locked rig for this. 20 watts output from an 807, modulated by 807s actually. The remains of the old AM rig going back, well, not pre-war of course, because pre-war we didn't have 807s. We had all sorts of funny things then. I used to use Type 245, incidentally, both on 80, 40 and 20, and even down on 5, the old 245s with slotted bases. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I think it's on to Henry, and then he can pass it on to Tony again if Tony's still there. VK3EN in the group, VK38ZY.
VK38Z in the group, VK3EN. Well, it's funny Charlie's not on, isn't it? He's missing quite a lot lately. I'd have to get on and reprimand him. Yes, Tony, when Ivor went, we missed a very good friend indeed. In fact, Ivor was the instructor when I went for my amateur ticket was in 1930, say early 36. But 1924, the powers that be allocated those two calls to the concern, and I was a bloke behind it. So that goes back. That's something perhaps you never knew. Okay, about our friend Foote there, yes, I remember he had the call sign directly after they took it away from us and gave us another call, VKD. So, we've been through some experiences there. Now, I often wonder what's happened to 3CR. Have they shifted? Are they at Northcote? Or are they still in the city area? The transmission seems to have improved. It appears to be stronger. So that led me to believe they may have shifted. I think it must have been a heck of a place there where they moved there, and just off Wellington Street somewhere there. Must have been a terrible place. But anyway, they got out there, so at the present, it must allow a signal strength from if any alterations have been carried out. And now, the tape from Chris, yes, well, I think that was the one that I heard. But, because I can't throw my memory back now to that now. But that's really a long time ago. And Mac, about the 2 metre 3FO and the other crowd there, and Jim, yes, well, that went on for years, didn't it? Well, that, I think the start of that was, who was it? I think when 2 metres was given to us, then we had elaborate sets there. Doug, I've forgotten his call now, but he was in civil aviation then. Doug and Charlie Jamison and Dick Davies, they all came out, and we started to get busy on 2 metres. First contact was a bloke in the Western District, and we couldn't believe it. But that started us off. Old 3BH, Charlie Whitelaw, yes, he was a wag, wasn't he? But we kept those sketches going for years. Well, I think that's just about all that I've got from here, chaps. I'll give it to you, Tony, and see what you can dig up. But at the present moment, we're lacking in any technical subjects to argue the point about. We're running out of both ideas and time, I think. VK3AML, VK3EM.
Yeah, okay, Henry. 3EN in the group, 3AML, and I think Len signed. I made some notes. I'll quickly buzz through the notes, Henry and Murray and Mac. Incidentally, your NBFM, I didn't realise you were still using NBFM, Mac, and I sort of tuned off the side, and there you were all of a sudden. I was sort of tuned into the middle of you, and I thought, gee, he's got low modulation. and then it sort of hit me, don't tell me he's still using it. So I tune off the side, and there you are, loud and clear. Comes through beautifully through this old 1155 I'm using. And interested on your comments there on the smallpox too, Mac. Quite interesting. Yeah, Chris is still more or less in the same business there, Henry. Still collecting old bits and pieces, and he's been doing quite a few programs for the ABC, and he's getting paid for it now. He's collecting stuff for the ABC. I think he's putting something together now actually for the ABC for a history of sound film in Australia. In fact, he was over here last night. We were listening to a few of these tapes, and while I was sort of dubbing off some of the tapes, he was actually writing the script for it, so he's quite busy. Yeah, Murray, interested there in your comments on the 5 metre business. There is also something on one of the other tapes of a recording of a 5 metre contact, so I'll have to get hold of that one too, as well as the one of Mac 3RV. I'll have to get hold of that 5 metre one. There's definitely a 5 metre one on there, and I don't know who's in it. It could well be yourself that's in it. So that'll be an interesting one. What's today? Tuesday. Probably be able to get hold of it by Thursday, Friday morning, or at the latest next Monday whenever I see Chris next. Most of those things were recorded on aluminium, by the way, Murray. Most of those ones that we had of I was with a little 4 or 5 inch aluminium 78s where the groove was actually embossed, according to Chris. You couldn't sort of cut the aluminium because it's too sort of, well, it's metal, but it was actually embossed, the groove. We have got a fair bit of Ivor on tape from one evening when Chris went around to Ivor's place and interviewed him, took his tape recorder around there and interviewed Ivor about the old days of radio and broadcasting, when the amateurs used to be on the broadcast band, and I think he also discussed the records that Ivor recorded. So I think we've got about half an hour somewhere, half an hour of Ivor on tape, which is quite good. It's excellent that we managed to get that, because I think everybody was expecting Ivor to be still around for another 30 years the way he was going. Because when Ivor finally snuffed it, I think he was still working up at Channel 7 on well, no, he wasn't, that's right. He was at home when he actually passed away, but he was still working at Channel 7 during the week. Excellent on the rig there too, Murray. I didn't realise you'd built a little, or rebuilt a rig for AM 807 and a pair of 807s. That's really good. Sounds okay here. Oh, I think I know what it is, Henry. I was commenting on your signal before. I think all it is that there's a little bit of hum in your microphone channel. I think there's a little bit of hum in your mic channel. And I just assumed that you must be using a different rig, because there never used to be any hum there. It's just sort of there. It's just audible. Fire Brigade. Yeah, they're still using your transmitter, Henry. They've got 2 transmitters there, and the new one that they built they use most of the time, and the old Fire Brigade transmitter that you built has been, well, it's still over there, and that's the standby transmitter. It's running about 250 watts or something. So every time they want to do some work on the new rig, or every time something goes wrong with the new rig, it automatically changes over to your rig. The old Fire Brigade transmitter, which has been, substantially rebuilt. I think it's got a different modulation transformer in it, but it's still using the same valves as far as I know. It's still got the old triodes in the output and the old triodes in the modulator and so on, and an 807 oscillator and all the rest of it. Still using the same valves. It's just been rewired and got new coils in it and all the rest of it. And it still looks much the same from the outside. And the transmitter at the moment, Henry, it's, I don't know whether you know Collingwood Town Hall in Hoddle Street. If you go up near the corner of Victoria Parade and Hoddle Street, and then go north towards the Clifton Hill overpass. You go past the Collingwood Town Hall. Well, the transmitter, 3CR's transmitter, is just around behind Collingwood Town Hall. There's a little oval area with some grass and so on. You can see the tower sticking up. It's got a funny triangular thing on the top of it, sticking up about 120 or 150 feet. So that's where it is, in a little brick building. And any time you feel like having a look at it, Henry, just say the word and we'll buzz out there and open the place up and you can have a look. And I think you'll find that, you know, the old fire brigade transmitter from the outside, it doesn't look really that much different at all. Okay, I'll just play you this other bit of Dick 3RZ. It's on the other side of this tape, and then I'll leave you with it. There's also some W's and some K signals from the 19...
Let me ask you one question.
Oh, there's one there, actually.
About Melbourne and so on, Doris, and that is...
Here's an American AM signal off 20 metres from 1938.
You say you've never been outside of Australia. How would you like to make a trip to Hawaii, say, for instance? Would you rather do that, or would you rather do a lot of things back in your own country first? Would you like to see all of Australia first, or would you rather take a small trip abroad? VK60GM by.
60GM.
It's very foolish for people to go travelling around the world and they know nothing of their own country. I think they should see their own country first, and then they have an idea then of appreciating the other countries they see.
I don't know much of Australia, Paul. I think I could do quite a few thousand miles around here. It's a pretty big place, and why, we're 1,000 miles here from Brisbane alone, Bowler. Another 1,000 miles north to Townsville, and it must be best part of 1,000 miles then up to Cairns.
Northwestern District of Victoria.
Oh, that's 3BY. Yeah, that was back from the... that was taken off the broadcast band, that particular one. I think there's a bit of Dick 3RZ just after this. I'm sure you'll all know Dick quite well. Just stand by a sec.
3BY Melbourne, calling CQ. Calling CQ, 3BY Melbourne. Now going over to the receiver.
VK3DH, Melbourne, Australia, calling CQ. Calling CQ, VK3.
That's right, that's Iva's wife. That was a CQ, a CQ record that Iva cut.
K60GN again on the 17th of December 1938.
Hang on.
100 and 110, 120 degrees in the shade.
Those AM signals certainly used to come through on 20 metres back in 38.
In California, we have the highest and the lowest elevation in the United States. That is Mount Whitney, which is over 14,000 feet, and Death Valley, which is way below sea level.
I think
Death Valley is way below sea level.
I think Dick 3RZ is just after this. Sorry to monopolise everything and take up all this time. Hang on, I'm pretty sure Dick's straight after this. I'll just play a bit of Dick and I'll put it over to Mac.
Of course, anything runs in, they think that other people are not interested because it seems so every day to.
Dick Fitzsimons, recorded in 1939, VK3RZ.
Closed. I'm too busy here to get out of the house and stay. Now, would you inform Howard that I accept his apologies over? I realise that something went wrong there. It wasn't his fault. And as a result of that trouble, I got hooked up with a whole lot of you in the end. No, it was rather fortunate in a way. Also, I wasn't listening very closely to Howard when he was talking about the tick-tick trouble there. didn't quite catch what he said. I think he said one of the electrostatic shields there wasn't burnt or something. I've had the same trouble here, and I've been unable to trace it unless I have my final power supply switched on all the time. I get this tick, tick, tick in the receiver. The only other way I can cut it out is by pulling the rectifier out of the tube socket, and I've been unable to locate it so far. I don't know what it is, but I don't think there's any shield on this particular transformer. Every terminal on the transformer goes to somewhere or other, as far as I can remember. Howard's modulation seems quite solid to me here. As I can judge, I didn't put the beat oscillator on, but he's about R8 to 9 and seems to be filling the carrier fairly well. Well, I'll turn it over to you again now, Ivor. And now let me see. I want to go up.
Oh, that's the end. That's right. That's where that side of the tape ran out. Here, I'll stick it over to you, Mac. I think you're next in line. Hope everybody's still there. I didn't realise you're mixed up with Ivor there, Murray. That's quite interesting. Anyway, I've been on far too long. Over to you, Mac. 3RV to take it in the group, VK3AML.
VK3AML in the group, VK3RV. Well, that was wonderfully interesting there, Tony, and thank you very, very much indeed for your time there. Believe me, it was interesting to me, and I'm quite sure the other guys too. And interesting on the talks with the Americans there on Mount Whitney and Death Valley. Yes, I've often had that explained to me on the air on 20 metres too from some of them there. Very, very good. And also fine on the aluminium recordings there. But I was amazed at the quality of the recordings there after they'd been processed so long there, Tony. And it is quite a wonderful job that must have been done there when they were first recorded. Really terrific. Takes us right back to the period just before the war there. And I came on the air in 1936, and the bloke who was instrumental in getting me on the air was VK3VF. Bruce Mackenzie. He's still on. I still contact him occasionally, and he appears quite unexpectedly these days on very, very many bands. He lives out in Croydon, out Croydon way there. He used to live at Preston, of course, and he, along with Jeff Stobie, 3VW, and Dick, 3XD, and Alan, what was his call sign, Alan? He used to live in North Fitzroy. 3AS, that's right, Alan Stowe. We used to have some really wonderful round tables there on 40 metres, generally on Sunday, talking about this and that. Alan used to have some very, very high quality audio equipment there. We used to go down to his shack there in North Fitzroy and listen to these records that he had. Very, very good. Well, it's midday here, and we've been going for quite a while, and I won't monopolise things. I'll put it over to you there. I think Henry is the next in line, and we'll see what you've got to add to it. I'll say my very best of 73s to all round there. Thank you very much for a most interesting contact this morning. So VK3EN, this is VK3RV putting it over to you, Henry, for your remarks there. Take it, Henry.
Yeah, this is Henry must have been called to the phone again, or something. VK3HZ to the group. Anyhow, I'll make a few remarks and so on. Yeah, that's... Yes, Tony, I'd forgotten about those aluminium discs that Ivor was using, but that's so. He went on to acetate a bit later than that. But the amazing thing was that they got sufficient drift in the material to record something on the little aluminium discs. Although another interesting thing about that, careless cutting on an acetate can cause the drift both in the coating material and in the aluminium down below. So I suppose it's not surprising that they could cut those. Yes, so Ivor certainly went before he should have. Okay, but the tape for the 5 metres. Yeah, well, if I don't happen to appear on it, I certainly know the fellows who were on it, because there was quite a compact group of us in 1935, 1936. 37 I'd gone to Warrigal, but I was still active on 5 metres, although I couldn't get from my location down to the city. But when a field day came around, I worked 5, and I did work from my residence at Warrigal to the Yuyangs, which was the old 5 metre record, and of course as they didn't bring 5 back, it still stands. But there we are. Yes, okay, well, I'll say cheerio now. Marty's returned from her expedition into Melbourne, so I'll say cheerio, and cheerio to you, Dick. Cheerio, Tony. Glad you broke in and said hello to us this morning and let us hear that tape. And Henry, cheerio to you. I'll pass it over to you just in case you're still there. Otherwise, looks as though we've just about finished. So this is VK3HZ concluding from VK3EN, 3RV and 3AML. VK3LV having signed. VK3HZ is off and clear and listening out.
Yeah, okay, Murray. Just make sure I'm not double.
VK3RZ portable, is still there, Tony?
Oh, Dick's there. Just stand by a sec. Seems like Dick's down at Rosebud or somewhere. Yeah, okay, Murray. We'll see you later on. And yeah, we can thank Chris for getting hold of those bits. As I said, there is a recording of, I'm pretty sure it's Mac 3RV from the same time. In fact, I think the recording of Mac is, from memory, I think would be about the highest quality recording of the whole lot. Might have even been done on an acetate, the one of Mac. And there's some of Ivor there himself, and what was the other one? The 5 metre tests. So I'll try and get hold of them if I can. It's they're a bit hard to find on the tape. They're all there, but they're just a little bit hard to find on the tape because there's so many of them. Chris has actually dubbed off all of Ivor's stuff. He went through Ivor's entire collection and he has dubbed off everything that's of any interest at all from Ivor, including the test recordings that he made in his own shack and everything. So it's all there on tape. And I'm not sure whether Chris has still got the original discs or whether he's taken them back to Ivor's XYL. Anyway, gee, Dick, what a surprise. I wonder if you heard that bit of you being played back just a few minutes ago. VK3RZ portable, VK3AML. VK3RZ portable at Blair Gowrie, Tony. You must have a very good path against the water because the only signal I've ever heard down here on 160 is goes over the S9. Although Henry goes very close to it. He gets up to an 8 to 9 at times, but you're into the rest. Well, I did hear you earlier and didn't know what you were going to play anyway, but I decided that it's too late for me to come in. I heard you about 11:30, and I wanted to find out
all I could about Dan, because Dan and I were fairly good friends when he first got his ticket, and we lived close together in Hawthorne. And I knew he has been sick, but of course I've had very little contact with him in recent years. I did hear you mentioning some of it, that he'd had some treatment, and I think you said that he's keeping things at bay. But I don't know whether this means that he's on the way to complete recovery or not. You might like to tell me that. And I know one never recognises one's own voice on tape or record, but it just didn't sound like my voice to me, Tony. I've always had a pretty deep voice. I mightn't have had in 1939 when I was very young, I don't know. And I'm just wondering what Chris used to identify that. Chris did tell me that he had something of mine on disc from either, but he was rather unflattering about it. He said that I didn't have much to say, and I didn't talk any sense anyway while I was saying it. That didn't seem to put up with what you just played either. It was on that disc, was speaking quite well and talking about some transformer problem. So there we are. I wonder how you're copying me down at Elwood there. VK3AML, VK3RZ Portable Blair Gary.
Yeah, right, Dick. 3RZ, VK3RZ Portable Blair Gary, VK3AML. Yeah, I couldn't remember where it was that you normally went down to there, Dick, but I think I've worked you down that way a few times. Blair Gary. I'm just trying to remember whether I've worked you at Blair Gary. Is that where you normally go? I know somebody else used to go to Blair Gary. Was it Charlie 3ACR? I think it was Charlie who normally goes to Blair Gary. Just, I wonder if Charlie still pops up on the coffee break or not. Hang on. I'll just adjust the modulation here. I don't know why. I've got the modulation turned down. I'll turn it up. Hello, that's better. 1, 2. Just adjusting things here. Oh, what a surprise just to hear you on there, Dick. I didn't know whether you were still on the band or, whether you'd sort of given it all away completely or what. I think it's about 18 months or so since, or no, probably more like about 2 years. Getting on for 2 years since we spoke. Yeah, well, I was involved in a few of those contacts that we used to have, of course, back in the late 60s when we had all those funny contacts between 160 metres and sometimes between 160 metres and 6 metres. I think you used to come up on 6, or I used to come up on 6, I forget which. In fact, I think one night we had 160 and 80 and 6 and 160 and 40 and 6 going. So, yeah. I sort of vaguely, I think having called over to Dan's place back in those early days, I probably used to hear just as much about you off the air as when I used to speak to you on the air from Dan. I'm not quite sure how Dan's getting on. Superficially, it all appears to be okay, Dick. On the surface, it appears to be okay because it's now about around about 3 years. It's around about getting on for 3 years since it first happened, and he's been getting regular treatment for it, and it sort of appeared to have been arrested, if not completely eliminated, but I'm not sure of the details, and Dan doesn't say very much to anyone about it. Possibly they're not even sure themselves anyway, so as far as we can tell, Dick, it appears to be okay. Dan's moved over to East Malvern now. He's living over in East Malvern. He's renting a place over there, and I'm sure he'd be quite interested to hear that I spoke to you. Next time I talk to Dan, I'll mention that you're on down on holidays by the sound of it, and he'll be most interested to hear. In fact, I might record a bit of you anyway, just to play back to him when he drops around. But I think all his equipment's just in storage at the moment over at his parents' place in Hawthorn. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I don't think he's got any equipment where he is. And at the moment he just doesn't have any particular interest in ham radio. So, you probably won't hear him for ages if he ever gets an interest back in it again. Yeah, that bit of you there, Dick, it could have been running at the wrong speed, possibly. I was rather surprised that it didn't sound like your normal voice. I'll just run the tape back. Just to refresh memories or something. It'll take a minute or so to line that up. I might just play a bit of it again just for interest's sake, but I'll put it back to you there, Dick, and you could just tell us whether Blairgowrie is your normal spot. Have you got a house down there, or do you take a caravan down? I'm not sure there, Dick. Of course, if you've got a house down there or something, well, obviously that's the place you've always been going to. But I had a feeling that I'd worked you somewhere else down that way. Anyway, VK3RZ portable to transmit VK3 AML.
VK3 and Tony, apologies there. I was called away to the phone and I had to leave. So I've been listening to what's going on, but I'll let you carry on with Dick there. Good morning, Dick. You weren't on the net this morning. Why? VK3EN.
Roger, Henry.
VK3EN, VK3AML, VK3RZ, portable at Blairgowrie. Yes, good morning, Henry. Well, I wasn't on the net and I really shouldn't be on now, but I did want to speak to Tony about Dan 3UI. But we're still finishing the painting here, Henry. We haven't been able to do anything over the Christmas period because we've had grandchildren here, and now there's just the wife and I on our own. And we're trying to get a bit of work done this week, and we're working on the bathroom and laundry, which is near where I've got the gear set up, so I did have it running, listening to you all, and then when Tony came on, I decided I better come on, say hello, and so forth. So that's why I wasn't on earlier. And to put you in the picture, Tony, I have operated portable from Sorrento as long as 4 years ago. We used to go to a friend's place in Sorrento. And then 3.5 years ago we bought this lot of land where I am now. And the things have changed since then. I operated from a tent on this lot of land and then from a caravan. And then I retired in November 77. So I immediately started drawing plans for a house here. And I suppose I couldn't call them plans, drawing designs for a house, because eventually the draftsman had to draw a proper plan that a builder could work from. But I did the design work, and with my wife and I, and we signed a contract with the builder on February 78, 3 months after I retired, and they first down 2.5 months we had a house here. And we come down here very, very frequently, and we think that when we get all the work done down here, and the garden and everything established, we might even then start working on the house in Melbourne and sell that and move down here permanently. But we're moving slowly at the moment. So that's the story there. I'll find on the information on Dan. It sounds heartening. I think Michael Ross was the first one to tell me Dan had this tumour, and the way Michael told it to me, it may have been very, very serious indeed. In fact, it was at the time anyway. Okay about Dan having all his gear still in Glenferrie Road. I've been to his shack there quite a few times. And in fact, I took my quad down about 3 months ago, and it was made with bamboos that Dan gave me about 1969, I think, and they were second hand then. but they started to rot now, so I've got to replace the bamboo. And I was one of Dan very early contacts. In fact, I think I worked him when he was given the call sign, inadvertently given the call sign CIU. I wonder if you remember that. VK3AML, VK3RZ.
Yeah, okay, Dick, 3RZ, VK3IML, returning. Yeah, I remember that business about the 3IU. Remember that quite well. Just rearranging my monitoring here at the moment. I'm half expecting somebody to ring the doorbell any second. Somebody wanted to come over and dub some tapes off. I've got 2 recorders here at the moment, so it's quite convenient. Oh, that sounds really fantastic about the house. And you sound as if you're still enjoying good health and everything, and enjoying yourself, and not enough time to do everything in, which I suppose is the best way to be. It's better to have too much to do than too little. So that sounds really great. I suppose you've still got the other place to be still up in, was it Mount Waverley or Glen Waverley? I forget which. I didn't see your place up there. I can only remember your house opposite the Toorak Drive-In. But I remember that quite well, where you were for quite a few years. And you're not a paralytic signal up in Melbourne, but you're perfectly readable. And I wonder which rig are you using at the moment? I'm just trying to remember from past memory whether you. I don't think you've got a 101. That's all right. I thought there was someone at the door then. I'll just play a bit of that tape again, Dick, just before I shoot through, and it could be running slightly fast. It might actually be running slightly fast. You can never tell. Just start the other machine going. Just stand by a sec.
And I've been unable to trace it unless I have my final power supply switched on all the time. I get this tick, tick, tick in the receiver. The only other way I can cut it out is by pulling the rectifier out of the tube socket. And I've been unable to locate it so far. I don't know what it is. But I don't think there's any shield on this particular transformer. Every terminal on the transformer goes to somewhere or other.
Oh, well, I suppose, I don't know, 40 years ago. Maybe your voice wasn't quite as low, Dick, 40 years ago. You never know. Yeah, do some calculations quick. Yes, you're about 20, I think. Yes, that's probably the right speed. Just in case you're still listening there, Henry, that was Dick in 1938.
And now let me see. I want to go.
Yeah, just a bit of Dick from the same era. Yeah, well, everyone's just got their fingers crossed with as far as Dan goes. I tend to feel if anyone will survive, he will. So, oh, it just ran out again. So, I think things will be okay with that. Just looking to see what other notes there were. Blair Gary. That's about it, I think, Dick. So I'll let you get away back to the painting and so on. Just tell us what the rig is down there at the moment. Just jog my memory again, Dick. I'm running the 813 at the moment, the relatively new rig. It's about two and a half years old. 813 modulated by a pair of 811As. Fairly standard sort of a thing. It's built into a rack out the back. So back to you, Dick, and like I say, let you get on with the painting. I'll go and get some lunch, I think, go and buy a couple of pies or something. VK3RZ with VK3N possibly still listening on the side, VK3AML.
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3RZ portable at Blair Gary. Yes, fine, Tony. Yes, well, we think it's good down here, and it's probably a very good radio location. Just for interest sake, I guess you're vertically polarised anyway, still using your Chumtech power. And I'm horizontally polarised here with an antenna 12 feet high and 130 feet long. But I'm using the water pipe as an earth return, and the antenna does run approximately over the top of the water pipe, and the water pipe's leading from the street is something like, well, I'm not sure whether it's on the other side of the road or this side, but even if it's on this side of the road, it would have to be about 170 feet long from where it leaves the street and eventually gets into the house, because the house is built 120 feet back from the gate, and the water pipe comes in the back of the house, around the back somewhere, because that's where all the waterworks are in a house as a rule. Well, my first contacts down here at Sorrento were with a Type 3 Mark II, and then I graduated to an FTDX 100, which wouldn't cover 160, of course. Then I sold that to Steve, who 3IZ, he's now 3OT, I think. He wanted it for mobile work, and I bought a second-hand 101 Bravo for use down here. So that's what I'm using now. Bonito, well, you know, they only get about 10 watts output anyway. And the fine on your new rig there. I'm using tubes, all of which I'm familiar with. Got some 811s, as a matter of fact, that I want to build a linear with eventually. A copy of the Coleman 30L1. They're a very, very good tube indeed. Although I've never used them for RF. I've used 809s for RF, but not 811. And I heard somebody mention that they didn't use 807 pre-war because they weren't available. Well, my pre-war rig had an 807 and an 809 in it. And those tubes, the 809 cost 25 shillings, the 807 cost 27 and 6, it was dearer than the 809. They had white ceramic bases on them. I remember it quite well. So the 807 was available pre-war. Anyhow, that's by the by. I've been at Glen Waverley for 1970, I believe, to Glen Waverley. So it's a few years. I do remember you calling at least once at the Hawthorn, maybe a couple of times turning. And I'll always be happy to see you without Glen Waverley, won't I? Or even down the peninsula for that point of view. So we've got a fair size block of land here. I've always wanted a few acres, but we've got 200 feet by 60 feet here. Bigger than any block I've got ever had in Melbourne for a year or something. And it's fine business. We'll let you get away there. You've got a visitor coming, and thank you very much for the contact, for playing that tape. I'll just have to accept that my voice was a bit lighter. In 1938, when I got on the air, I was 20. I was 20 when I got the ticket, got on the air 38. So there we are. Tony, I know as you work out the mathematics from that, I retired when I was 60. So, we'll see you later, and I wish you all the best, and hope that it won't be as long next time. VK3AML, VK3RZ, Audible at Blair Gary, off and clear. Cheers, and cheers, Henry, if you're still listening.
Okay, Dick. Yeah, see you later on. Yeah, it's rather fascinating to listen to those records and sort of realise that the people that you're listening to, some of them are younger than I am now. You know what I mean. At the time that they made those recordings, they were younger then than I am now. So won't be. Oops, just hit the limiter. Won't be long. Oh well. Righto. We'll see you later, Dick. And yeah, like you say, have to make it a bit shorter. The gaff will have to be a bit shorter before we work next, I think. It's getting a bit ridiculous, getting on for 18 months or 2 years. VK3RZ, Portable, Blair Gary, and OK on the rig and everything, and the antenna. That antenna's rather intriguing. It certainly gets out. I'll have to think about that one. 12 feet high and 130 feet long. Well, it certainly works. I don't know how it works, but it works. EAC, Dick, VK3RZ, VK3IML, just listening.
Yeah, okay, Tony. Thanks for this. See you later. VK3RZ, Portable Bulgaria, please.